Hey guys, I thought this week, oh my god, my hair's falling out. I thought this week I would do a bit of a video about anxiety and how I've lived with anxiety and things I do. I'm feeling super anxious at the minute. I'm having a bit of a tough time with a few personal things. Oh my god, can't put in my hair. So I thought I would just talk about how I've dealt with anxiety over the years. And yeah, kind of chat through my journey a little bit with anxiety. I was first diagnosed when I think I was about 14. Is that like year 9? I've always been anxious, and like when I look back at traits from when I was a small child, like I got my pack, and I want to say that when I was like 17, me and my mum were looking through it, like the pack you hand over to your child's primary school with all their like details in and information, and like they were like, do you have any concerns? And my mum had written, Libby doesn't like loud noises, so I don't think she's going to eat very well in a hall full of hundreds of children. If that did not tick any boxes then, I don't know what would. But basically, I was formally diagnosed when I was 14. I was at secondary school. I actually remember the time I had my first panic attack. I can't actually for the life of me remember what triggered it. But I was in a classroom. My school had a 3-story science building. And obviously it was the second floor. It was the physics floor. I was in a physics class. And I remember just sitting under the table and being like, what's happening? I can't function. This is wild. And that started a journey of trying absolutely everything in the book to deal with it. I had talking therapy. I had online CBT at one point. I would see, they weren't even like therapists, they were just like nurses who would give me strategies, none of which really worked. My anxiety very much functioned around underperforming and not being able to get the grades I wanted. At the time when I was in school, I danced, I sang, I performed like musical theatre, I was a swimmer, I was a competitive swimmer. What else did I do? I did guides at one point. There was just this absolute pressure in my own head, no one else was putting it on me, this absolute pressure to do well at all costs. And I've actually been back to my secondary school 2 years in a row now, and I'm like, why did I let this pressure eat away at me? Like, what in the world? It was maths. I remember sitting and like, I was terrified of maths because I did a history degree, I do musical theatre, literature, English, drama, that was all my vibes. And I just remember maths, just not getting it. And then putting my hand on me like, I just don't get it. And then my teacher was like, but what don't you get? Tell me what you don't get. And I was like, any of it. And I remember that was just so stressful because I was like, I cannot explain to you what I don't understand, but I don't understand. Like my brain just isn't working. And so maths was a lot of stress around for me. But then the other side, English, because I was so desperate to do well. History just kind of came naturally. Drama kind of came naturally. English lang I hated. English lit came naturally, but I was so desperate to get like the top grades. And I did end up getting a really good grade. So it was, again, like I let it consume me. And as an adult, I've kind of grown out of that 100%. But a couple of things have happened in the past couple of years that has definitely, I'd say, like I'm 23 now. I've definitely gone more back to what I was like when I was 17 in the last like 18 months than any other time. The sun has decided to come out and I'm sat directly at the bar. So this is probably a really weird, unflattering, trying to look at my reflection in the camera. Yeah, so in the last couple of years, my partner, my fiance got diagnosed with epilepsy when we were living on the South Coast. We're from the Midlands, which meant, well, not the South Coast, slightly above the South Coast, but southwest, south, Salisbury, where's that? But we were on our own, and obviously epilepsy means fits. Oh my god, the stress when he had his first fit. My mum's always joked though, like I'm quite good in disasters. I'm really bad with really minor problems, but then you get a disaster and I'm really good. And everyone's always said to me like, how did you cope? You're on your own, your partner was fitting, you're in a house on your own. And I was like, I don't know, I just did. Because you just do, like that's just what happens. And then I had a bereavement in really, really, really awful circumstances. And I feel like those two events really did, like when they say alter your brain chemistry, like they really did alter my brain chemistry. And I carried on, and then I got engaged this year, and we've had a bit of we've had a few family issues and we've got another health scare in the family, and I just feel like I feel a bit overwhelmed and a bit panicky. And I work with kids all the time, and I'm getting this kind of like, oh, I'm ready to have kids, which I've never experienced before, and it's a really weird sensation. And I like feel a bit, I don't even know how to describe it. I feel like there's now something missing in my life, which is a baby, but I don't want kids yet. But there's this missing element that I'm like, oh my God. And I work with kids and I'm with kids all the time and I love it. And I don't think I'd cope if I wasn't, because literally my entire life is surrounded by children from age like 5 up to age 17. And it's then about managing that anxiety, because I'm definitely feeling super anxious at the minute. Like, we're getting all our invites out for our wedding and getting everything prepped. And as goes in the theatre industry and the performing arts industry, I've had no auditions. I've had literally nothing for months. And then last week, I think I got 4 or 5 messages like, can you film this self-tape? Can you do this? Can you do this? And I was like, no, but obviously you can. So now for me, it's like just about managing what our best strategy is. I'm a crier. I'm a really bad crier. I cry everything, like happy, sad. I just sob. Like, I was watching Educating Yorkshire, and I just burst into tears, like, because I was like, this is so sweet. Ridiculous. But for me, it's about managing my anxiety so that it doesn't come out to the kids, because I have got a lot going on. I own my own theatre school. You know, there's a lot of kind of business side of things. So for me, it's about being able to regulate. We do a lot of drives. Me and my fiance go out for drives in the evening. I love a good drive in the dark. Hate driving in the dark. He drives. Love a good drive in the dark. We go for drives. We do a lot of chill things, but we also run and we go to the gym. We did a triathlon 2 weekends ago this weekend. Not last weekend, the weekend before. So it's about trying to manage that. And I've definitely like developed in my anxiety. I have anxiety about different problems now instead of maths tests, but there's still a lot of pressure there that I put on myself. And Alex, my partner, said something to me last night. He was like, you need to just let go of this pressure. Like, no one's judging you if you're sat crying at Educating Yorkshire, and no one is annoyed with you for doing these things. Like, you've got a lot going on. And I do think like that is literally like my key message is like, just take that pressure off. And it's so easy to say. I'm gonna literally like come off this and still have that pressure, but it's just about trying to remove that pressure and breathing and taking that moment and not needing to panic. I'm literally gonna cry talking about it. And yeah, just kind of not going with the flow as in going with the flow and don't care, but like just try and let yourself go with the flow a bit more. So yeah, I thought I'd do a little bit of anxiety and me chat and come back next week, guys.